Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the September monthly DAC Webcast. I'm Jennifer Stafford, the Director in the Division of Assessment and Accountability Support here in the Office of Assessment and Accountability. We welcome you today and hope that your school year is off to a great start for the 24-25 school year. We've got a lot of exciting developments to share with you today. And we just want to, before we get into the agenda, just send out our thoughts to our Southeastern Kentucky districts that have been closed over the last few days that are impacted by events over the weekend. So we just want you to know we're thinking about you. We're thinking about your school system and your community as well. Let's look at our agenda for today. We've got a lot of information. We've got wonderful consultants that are joining us this morning. We'll start off with Kristen, who is going to bring us updates around the last fall optional senior retake. So we want to provide you some reminders. Krista Mullins will be here with some alternate Kentucky Summit of Assessment updates as well, because it's right around the corner, as well as ACT. Chris Williams is here with WEDA and alternate access reporting. And then we will turn it over to Chris, a new consultant that we get to introduce you to, Tiffany Christopher, our newest consultant here in our division, the Division of Assessment and Accountability Support. We're so excited to have her with us. Just a fantastic person and very experienced in the early childhood. So you get to meet her. We get to introduce you to her today. So she's going to bring us some K-Screen because she will be managing the K-Screen, the kindergarten screener program. She will then turn it over to Shara Savage, who's going to provide some reminders about House Bill 6. Remember, House Bill 6 was the budget bill, but had those requirements for our schools and districts, as well as KDE reporting assessment data. Shara will turn it over to myself. I'll be back to talk about Quality Control Day and provide the updates as we can, and then some exciting developments and announcements around the Kentucky United We Learn initiative around reimagining assessment and accountability for the future. As always, Ben Riley is here with you to take your questions. So if you have questions, please email dacinfo@education.ky.gov, and we'll get to as many of those as we can here on the broadcast. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Kristen for ACT updates.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good morning, everyone. Jennifer said, my name is Kristen, and I wanted to give you some reminders about our fall 2024 optional senior ACT state administration. As Jennifer said, this will be our last one. So test window 1 is 9 days, 9 testing days, October 1st through October 11th, and that is for all testing, standard or with accommodations. And then our test window 2 is also 9 testing days for standard and accommodations, and it is October 15th through October the 25th. I wanted to highlight a couple of resources that are really important for you as you begin to complete the necessary task for the state administration. The fall ACT schedule of events outlines a lot of tasks that need to be completed during the testing cycle. So it's a good thing to download and look at. And then also we have the ACT test coordinator checklist that is available for you to help you navigate the testing cycle. We also have some upcoming office hours for the fall administration. Each office hour has specific topics that we discuss. However, we also include time in each of those to answer any other questions that you may have. So you do not have to register for these office hours. The link provided here will take you directly to the Microsoft Team meeting on that day and time. And I think next I'm turning it over to Krista, but first I want to ask Ben if there's any questions about ACT.
Looks like we do not have any at this time, but we will loop back around at the end if we have any and read those out on the air.
Thank you, Ben. I'll now turn this over to Krista.
All right, thank you so much, Kristen. And good morning to everyone who's here with us. Let me go ahead and take control. There we go. All right, so as Kristen said, I'm Krista Mullins. I'm a program consultant here in the Office of Assessment and Accountability. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some AKSA updates. So one of the things I wanted to go over today is the online training system, or OTS, which is where training materials, the qualification quiz, and videos or animations for the assessment can be found. I have received some questions of if there's a new DAC or a new teacher, how can they get access to the online training system? So if there's a new DAC, they'll need to register on the site. And with those DACs, KDE then goes in and approves those registrations. And so teachers who are also new need to also go in and register for an account. If a teacher were to move district, it's important that they go in and update their profile to reflect their current district and school. And it's also imperative that when they are registering for their account that all information is completed, as access to videos and animations are available in OTS based on the grades taught, based on that teacher's profile. So here you can see a picture of what that menu looks like on the left-hand side of the website, and down at the bottom you'll see that red square that says register. So that's what they would click on to register for their account in OTS. Another thing I wanted to review is the Overview Attainment Task Trainings quiz. I know several of you all are aware that there were some new questions on the quiz today based on some new administration guidelines and changes with the administration of the assessment. So there are some new questions there. So they will take their quiz in the OTS like we talked about after they've registered. And prior to taking the quiz, they will be prompted to complete this certification statement. This certification statement is for teachers to certify they've completed both of the attainment task trainings and that they've reviewed the administration guide prior to completing the quiz. All questions within the quiz are directly from either the trainings or the administration guide. So it's very important that teachers are reviewing those trainings and reading through that administration guide prior to taking that quiz. So there have also been several questions about the quiz when emails are sent or when teachers are getting locked out of the quiz. So I just wanted to kind of walk you through what that looks like when a teacher is locked out of a quiz. So if a teacher has submitted a quiz 3 times and they've been unsuccessful at passing the quiz, their quiz will be locked. That quiz is unlocked in OTS 24 hours after it was locked to allow the teacher time to review the training materials again. When the quiz is unlocked after those 3 attempts, an email is sent to the teacher letting them know that the quiz has been unlocked. If for some reason a teacher has attempted the quiz and submitted it 6 times and been unsuccessful, the quiz will become locked again. And at this time, an email is sent to the teacher and the DAC letting them know that the quiz has been attempted 6 total times with unsuccessful completion and requesting the DAC to review the training materials with the teacher. Once the DAC reviews those training materials with the teacher, they email KDE letting us know they feel like the teacher's prepared and ready to attempt the quiz again. So here on this screen, you can see this picture. This is what KDE and UK see when a teacher's been locked out of a quiz. And so here you can see a teacher's quiz has been unlocked once, where it says number of unlocks, meaning they already attempted the quiz 3 times and it has been unlocked for them. Now that they're locked again, it means they've attempted the quiz 6 total times, 3 times before and unlocked, and then 3 times since being unlocked that first time, and they're locked out again. The certification statement from the previous page is completed with each attempt of the quiz. So each time they go in to take the quiz, they will complete that certification statement, complete the quiz, and submit it. And so when they go in to submit it again, when they go in to retake the quiz, that certification statement will be there again before they can attempt it each time. All right, I also wanted to talk about our new altered assessment targets for the science Kentucky Academic Standards. These were sent out yesterday in a special alternate assessment email and also on Monday's DAC email. So this summer, stakeholders worked hard to use the science academic standards to determine progressions and new alternate assessment targets based on these standards. After these targets were determined, then we had item writers work to create items based on these science standards and alternate assessment targets. These new items then went through content and bias reviews and are now a part of the science field tests for Window 1 and Window 2 of the AKSA. So as a result, it's important that teachers are using these new alternate assessment targets in their instruction in addition to the current targets. The new alternate assessment targets will be used on those science field tests, but the current science alternate assessment targets will be used in the attainment tasks. So both of those current and new alternate assessment targets for the science Kentucky Academic Standards can be found on the Kentucky Academic Standards alternate KSA webpage, which is linked right here as well. And at this time, I'm going to see if Ben has any questions that have come in.
We do not have any AKSA questions, but if we get any during the remainder of our presentation on the webcast, we'll circle back around at the end and read them then.
All right, thanks so much, Ben. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to my colleague, Chris Williams.
Thank you, Krista. Hi, everyone. I am Chris Williams, and I'm a program consultant in the Office of Assessment Accountability. And so today I'm going to be talking to you about the WIDA alternate access reporting. And you've noticed that we've already, on our slide here, that we've already received our online reports for the access. And then also your printed reports for WIDA alternate access will arrive in your districts on September 26th. Now, we do have lots of resources that we've sent out in multiple emails. And also, if you are also have a WIDA secure portal, you also have that particular piece to be able to also, get WIDA, what we call WIDA Monday Mail. And so all of these resources have come to you. We've also sent these out in Monday DAC emails as well. And one of these resources, we want to go through each one of these. But the first one I want to talk about is the interpretive guide. It's a comprehensive document explaining the types of score reported by altering access for students in grades K through 12. It talks about the types of score reports and etc. that you're going to be able to see. The next resource is the recording. It is to help staff learn about the new score levels of proficiency levels of a 1 to a 5 and the redesignated alternate access individual school student reports, which are ISRs. In WIDA AMS, you can download the ISRs in over 40 different languages, and we want you to take those translated reports, and those should also accompany the official reports in English that you send home to the students. The flyer is available in multiple languages, and it helps the families understand what the scores mean and how they're used. And the second page of the flyer for 23-24 explains what is different about this year's score report than our previous score reports in previous years. Then we have our next particular resource is the ALT performance level descriptors. And they're an extension of those that are found in the WIDA English Language Development Standards in the 2020 edition. And those describe the continuum of language development for our English learners with the most significant cognitive disabilities. They're organized in 5 levels of English language proficiency, going from entering to beginning, to developing, to expanding, and bridging for the two communicative modes, which are interpretive and expressive, when you're testing your students with the alternate assessment or alternate access. So then with that, it is very important that you're using those English language development standards. Another thing that will also help you is, is applying the framework from the Advancing Altella Toolkit. It's going to help you help teachers on lesson plans for our multilingual learners with the most significant cognitive disabilities. And then our last resource is going to is our conversations with Can-Do, and Can-Do is our dog that represents alternate access, and you'll see that on all the materials when you get those in your district for alternate access. Now, with this, it will give you more information on our alternate access standard setting that we held this summer. And it will give you lots of information about who all was involved, you know, in the consortium, what we did with the alternate access for the alternate standard setting, etc. And then the last thing is that people always want to know is what is our exit criteria, and it is still the exit criteria that it has been, which is a overall composite of a P2, which is proficiency levels of a P2. So you will look on your reports and those will say 2, and those are proficiency levels. So that is, and then we will also take a look at our exit criteria in the future with a standard setting as well, and for our state. So then, are there any questions that have come in about the alternate access reports or the resources?
Hey, Chris, I'm refreshing the inbox right now. It's just taking a second to load.
Sure.
It looks like we don't have any at this time, but again, we always check at the end too, so that way we catch every question that comes in while we're on the air.
Sure. All right. Well, I'm going to turn it over to my wonderful colleague, Tiffany Christopher, who's going to give you some case screen updates.
Thanks, Chris. As Chris said, my name is Tiffany Christopher. I am a program consultant with the Office of Assessment and Accountability, working with the K-Screen program. We have a few updates for you today. The Office of Assessment has partnered with Curriculum Associates and is going to offer 2 office hours this month. The first one will be tomorrow, September 13th from 2 to 3 p.m. And the second one is going to be September 30th, also from 2 to 3 p.m. These sessions are a perfect opportunity to get personalized support from our office as well as Curriculum Associates consultants, and answers any questions you might have about the K-Screen process. We are looking forward to seeing you there and encourage you to bring any questions or anything you would like to talk about. If you have any questions before, please contact Ben Riley. Speaking of Ben, do we have any questions about the K-Screen office hours?
We have not had any come in. We'll loop around at the end though if we do, and make sure we answer all questions.
Okay, great, thank you. And I'll go ahead and pass it over to Shara.
Thank you, Tiffany. So, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I hope that your back to school has been smooth and successful. I'm excited to walk you through the website requirements outlined in House Bill 6 for 2024. We would like to thank all of our schools and districts who have already updated their websites with the requirements of House Bill 6. And as Tiffany said, my name is Shara Savage, and today I'll be diving into House Bill 6 and what it means for website requirements across districts and schools. My goal is to make sure you have a clear understanding of steps needed to ensure transparency and compliance so our schools and districts can provide accessibility and up-to-date information to our communities. We will go over what is expected from each district, school, highlight key timelines, and I'll be sharing some key reminders to support you. So let's get started. Let's talk about the website requirements outlined in House Bill 6. These guidelines are in place to help ensure that important information is easy to find for everyone in the community. For every local education agency, or LEA, that receives SEEK funding, as well as for all schools in those districts, there are a couple of key things that need to be predominantly displayed on their websites. First, on the school or districts and on the school and district's main internet landing page, you will need to show the percentage of students who scored at specific achievement level, which includes proficient in reading, distinguished in reading, proficient in mathematics, and distinguished in mathematics. Here is an important detail. The text displaying these percentages must be in a 6-point font size to make sure it's easy to read and accessible. Next, schools and districts should include a direct link to their most school report card. This is where families and stakeholders can dive deeper into student performance on the Kentucky Summative Assessments, or KSA. This information belongs on the landing page and also needs to appear at the top of the page on the district's and school websites in a banner format. This ensures that no matter where someone clicks, they'll have easy access to the data. Please note, it is the expectation of KDE that the data not be averaged, but instead displayed in detail on each page. Additionally, once the spring 24 data is released, school and districts will have 14 days to update their web pages. Ultimately, these steps are about keeping everyone transparent and making sure performance data is readily available for everyone who needs it. All right, now let's go over a few key reminders to keep in mind as we move forward. Based on initial review of the school and district websites, KDE suggests districts assessment coordinators, or DACs, work with technology staff to make sure the following checks and corrections are made if needed. Check the district website and every school website to verify that the required student performance percentages have been posted. Please note, district data needs to be on the district pages, and the school particular to the school data particular to that school needs to be on each school page. Verify the links to the detailed results for direct viewers to ensure that link is working, that school report card link. Confirm that websites include the student performance data by level as presented in the spreadsheets provided to our DACs by KDE. So that means each level, elementary, middle, and high, must be displayed. For example, the website for a district with all levels should include proficient in reading percentage for elementary level, a proficient in reading percentage for the middle school level, and a proficient in reading percentage for the high school level as well. Combining percentages from all levels into a single proficient in reading percentage for the district is not technically appropriate for Kentucky's current level-based system. You'll see on the slide how the data should be listed for both reading and mathematics across all three elementary, middle, and high school. Make sure each level has its own breakdown for proficient and distinguished students. Lastly, please be proactive to be prepared for the release of the 24 accountability data. If you've identified any of these issues in your district or school, now's the perfect time to correct them before the 23-24 data is released. Taking action now will make sure that we're all in good shape for the upcoming year. And if you need any assistance, KDE is here to help. Now, let's talk a little bit about public release of our assessment and accountability in open house. We're tentatively looking at October 3rd for our big release. At that time, DACs will receive a spreadsheet that includes the percentage of students scoring in proficient and distinguished in reading and mathematics. This data will be broken down for both the district and each school level. Once the data is provided, districts will have 14 days to make those updates to their website. So that means you'll need to make these updates by October 17th, tentatively speaking. And keep in mind, every time an updated spreadsheet is released, districts will need to ensure that any changes are reflected on their website within 14 days. By staying on top of these updates, we make sure that our communities have the most accurate and up-to-date information at all times. And I believe that is all I have at this time, Ben. So before turning it over to Jennifer, do we have any questions about House Bill 6?
Sure, we have two questions that came in. Our first question is, does it have to look identical to the sample in the PowerPoint presentation you just showed us?
It doesn't have to look identical, but the way it's broke down needs to be reflected.
Yep. And then the second question is, so each page that the school district has to have the info at the top, not just the home page / landing page.
Okay, say that to me one more time.
Yeah, sure. It's a clarifying question. What they're asking is, does each page that the school /district have to have this info at the top of the page in that banner, not just the home page or landing page?
Right, the information should be at the top of each page in a banner format.
Gotcha. All right, and then we had one more question come in, but it's got some personal information in it, so we will answer that personally off air, but I will hand that to you later.
Okay, so at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Jennifer.
Thank you, Shara, and thanks also to Kristen, Krista, Chris, and Tiffany Christopher. So we've got a lot of wonderful information and great presentations this morning. I want to turn now to our Quality Control Day. It's still tentative, so we want to provide you with the fact that it's really close and we are on track for September 19th. And so we're not ready to confirm it yet, but we are very close to the confirmation. It is tentatively right now scheduled for 9 o'clock to 4 o'clock p.m. and that's Eastern time. And want to also provide you the fact that we will confirm in Monday's DAC email. So if there is a confirmation, it will come on the Monday, September 16th, Monday DAC email. So look for that. So we feel really close. We feel pretty good about the 19th. We're just not ready to say confirmed yet, but we think that we can get there by the 16th. The main objective is for our district assessment coordinators to identify any big systemic issues in the accountability data before we get to public release. And this process is just one of the additional steps in our quality control process, which started in the spring with getting our rosters right, continued into the fall with our fall data review. And now this is another step in the process to get toward better, more accurate public reporting. So on Quality Control Day, the focus will be on reviewing the accountability data, particularly those color ratings, those indicator data and the federal classifications. And again, this is the final step in that quality control. So we'll review school data, you'll review the district data prior to public release. District assessment coordinators will have the first look at their accountability and the district's accountability data, as well as all the schools. Now, I'll note for you that you, as district assessment coordinators, will only have access to your schools and your districts. So you won't see your neighboring districts' data at this time. So the district assessment coordinators will be able to review the data and identify any big systemic issues. Now, it's not the time to look at our individual student changes. Those took place during the fall data review back in August. I want to say it was August the 7th through the 14th. And that's when those individual changes occurred. So this is for, again, the big systemic problems that could impact multiple schools. So district assessment coordinators, you'll want to make the decision about who all you share this information with, because it's really, we encourage you to keep it at the school or district leadership level, because this could change. Even though you don't find errors or you don't find possible systematic processes that could impact your data, your other fellow district assessment coordinators could find something that would impact your schools. So you want to caution and make sure that you are providing those cautions around the data with who you choose to share the data with. Now, the tentative timeline for public reporting, as Shara mentioned, is in October, the 1st of October. Now, we do realize this is a time where some districts may be on fall break, but there's just not a week that would not impact every at least someone or some schools. So we really understand that there's really not a good time to pick and choose when the data goes out. So what the process was to get it out as soon as possible. So the tentative timeline is for districts to receive their embargoed data on October 1st. We're thinking that we'll release these to our district assessment coordinators at 8 a.m. Eastern time. Then additionally, on October 1st, we'll release it to the media outlets who have signed a non-disclosure. So they'll get it tentatively around the noon time or 1 o'clock Eastern time. And at that point, then the embargo period starts. So the embargo period, you can begin to talk internally with your schools and your teachers and your other district leaders, as well as with the media during that embargo time. So by the time you get it on October 1st till it's released, that's the embargo period. The public release time frame will be at 12:01 a.m. on October 3rd, so that our news and media outlets can have it in the morning, in their morning feeds, or the morning, if there's print newspapers anymore, on October 3rd, that they can make that deadline. So public reporting, as a reminder, it will be in open house. So we're transitioning the school report card, and the current school report card will sunset eventually. And so we are working with a new vendor, and that display, that dashboard, is taking time to develop, and the new vendor is needing more time. So the public release, we wanted, again, to get the data out as soon as possible. And so we went ahead and are releasing those data in open house. So there will be spreadsheets for download. The next step then in the quality control process will happen October 3rd through 14th. And we call this the 10-day regulatory data review period, because it's in statute that we have this time frame. And new tickets can be submitted for final data through October 14th, and ticket resolution will extend to October 16th. So only at that point then will data then become final for the 2024. So during that time, that will be the district assessment coordinators and building assessments coordinators' last opportunity to change the individual student during that time. And again, this is tentative. We plan to provide updates in the Monday, September 16th, Monday DAC email. We'll also at that time release a video for preparation for QC Day. So in Monday's email, look for the question of the week to be confirmation, as well as supports and resources for you to prepare for and get ready for our quality control day. And I think I've covered a lot of this already. The public release will be around assessment and accountability data in a phased-in approach this fall. Because of the new school report card vendor, the dashboard is not ready, so we'll put it out in open house. And then later this year, we'll have that school report card dashboard that'll have more than just assessment and accountability data. It will be accessible again in open house, and you'll be able to download those spreadsheets for analysis and to look at those for those educational outcomes. So I think that does it for our QC day as we have now, and for our open house. Let me see, Ben, do you have any questions?
We do. We received 2, and I just had a third one pop into our inbox, so I'll go ahead and ask them. So the first one is, will we have the survey results on QC Day? And I believe they're referring to quality of school climate and safety results when they asked that.
Yes, all data will be provided that impacts the accountability. So yes, quality of school climate and safety data will be included in the files. Awesome.
All right, and here's our next question is, when can principals share the accountability information with teachers?
So I would suggest that would happen on between October 1st and October 2nd, because, and again, that's tentative timeline. So if this timeframe holds, that embargo period would happen between 8 a.m. on October 1st, when districts receive the data that's going to go public, and then when it opens at 12:01 a.m. on October 3rd. So that gives our school principals time to meet with their staff. It gives our superintendents time to meet with their boards of education, media outlets, and people who have signed those non-disclosures.
Gotcha. Okay, and then our third, and it looks like it's our final question on this topic. Will we use the open house link for our website instead of the school report card link for the 2024 data?
Upon opening, it would be the open house, but then when it shifts over to the school report card, then it would need to be the link there, because that's going to be a more user-friendly data display in that school report card dashboard.
Gotcha. Okay. Right now in the inbox, that's all I have, but if we get any more, we'll wrap that up at the end of our presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Huh?
And now let's turn to some exciting developments around the Kentucky United We Learn and reimagining assessment and accountability. There will be a superintendent's webcast this afternoon, and on that webcast we will release the version 4.0 of the prototype. Now, the journey to a reimagined accountability system is shifting to the study phase. As you can see here on the slide, we've been in the prototype development, we've been in the feedback, and it's been an iterative process to get to our different versions of our prototypes. So we're moving now, as you can see, into fall of 2024, and that is the study phase. We're going to take this 4.0 into the study phase with the goal of presenting legislation to the Kentucky's General Assembly in 2026. So during the legislative session 2026, the goal is to have legislation introduced during that session. So that seems like a long time away, but it's really not, with all of the input that we're gathering and all of the critical steps that need to take place before we get to that point. So taking into the study phase is this updated document version 4.0 that will be released this afternoon. And it offers a phased-in approach and some very actionable approaches that we can take into each of the different areas. Now, version 4.0 continues with choice points. There's going to be choices around accreditation style, around vibrant learning experiences, and how those experiences are included in accountability, as well as assessment options, and then some reporting options. So there continues to be those choice points for the long-term goals, but different from the previous versions, there's not a prototype. Instead, the document focuses on the vision of a future assessment and an accountability systems, and stakeholder feedback, and then options for systems change. And particularly, there are study questions in that version 4.0, because we really want to dig down into areas of state accountability, federal accountability, assessment, and then that reporting. So we're really looking to our district assessment coordinators, our superintendents, everyone in the school system to provide input and feedback. This afternoon, there's a website that will have additional resources. And on that website, there's going to be the version 4.0. There's going to be a stakeholder feedback survey, and there's going to be an overview and videos around each of those critical choice points. Now, I'll also note for you that there has been stakeholder feedback around a local accountability options that is included in version 4.0. So a really really encourage our district assessment coordinators to dig into each of these resources, become familiar with the resources so that you can engage very confidently in the conversations around systems that impact our students. And I want to ask every district assessment coordinator to complete that survey. The survey that will be, again, released today during the superintendent webcast, and we will share in a special DAC email either late this afternoon or probably tomorrow morning, that we want every single district assessment coordinator to complete that survey. We plan to take to the Kentucky Board of Education in October just an update of where we are in the study phase, just an update. In the December Kentucky Board of Education meeting, we're going to take the feedback on those survey. And I would love to say that over 170 district assessment coordinators completed this survey, and this is the result. So I'm calling on our DACs who are invested in our assessment programs and in our accountability program to please complete that survey so that we can have a strong voice and we can understand where each of you stands on these important critical issues, taking them into and reimagining our systems. So I mentioned the Kentucky Board of Education meetings, next couple. There's also going to be some advisory councils or advisory meetings that are happening along the way, beginning next week with our School Curriculum Assessment and Accountability Council. So we'll have discussions with that important group next week, and then there will be multiple advisory groups along the way. The Kentucky United We Learn Council's next meeting is in October 21st and 22nd, and they are going to meet around and discuss this version 4.0 as well. So again, just really want to encourage each of our district assessment coordinators to complete the survey and also share very broadly with building leaders or school leaders, your building assessment coordinators, your principals, your teachers, your assistant super, anyone that you would please provide and give that link to the survey, because anyone can have input on it. So please complete it and share that very broadly with your stakeholder groups. Let me pause now to Ben and see if we have any questions.
Yes, we actually have one about this portion of your slides, and we had a couple
Okay,
more
good.
about the QC day and school report card section of your slides.
Okay.
So we'll stay
Okay.
on topic and talk about the slides you just shown. The first question is, will the study phase include an external reliability and validity measure for the overall new assessment system?
So the study phase is going to incorporate multiple facets. We've got 36 districts that are going to be part of the study phase that will have in-depth interviews. 18 of those 36 are L3 or local labs of learning districts. 18 are outside of the local labs of learning. And so that is one phase that is part of the study. There's also a survey that is going to go out around the readiness for these types of vibrant learning experiences, opportunities, and trying to come to an understanding of the readiness to provide these types. We'll also engage with technical experts around each of these different choice points that also includes individual student growth. And finally, then the survey. So there's multiple facets to the study phase that not only includes our survey that I'm really encouraging each and every one of you to complete, but also with technical experts and others within the field.
All right. And then I'm going to transition us back to that the QC day topic a little earlier.
Sure.
The first question is, while we don't have the new dashboard, will we have some form of visual representation like on the old school report card with colors?
So that all the data is going to be in spreadsheets at this point. So with Open House, it's going to look very similar to the spreadsheets you will see on QC Day. So until we get the new school report card, that dashboard, it's going to be spreadsheets.
Okay. And this next one, I think, is just some clarification. They are just confirming, they say, we do not need to do anything with the school report card approval tool with that that we have used in the past with the KYSRC, and they give a URL to Bright Bytes where they used to log in and do that in the past.
So right now, the approval tool is coming, from what I understand with the school report card, is for other parts of the school report card. The school report card has multiple types of information that's federally required in addition to assessment and accountability. And the approval tool are for other aspects of that card. So the Office of Assessment and Accountability has used our QC Day process for schools and districts to verify the data and review the data. So that's a critical step that we take that's outside the school report card. So our approval, or not approval, but review process is through QC Day. And communication should be coming out soon on that collector tool. And I appreciate Mike Prater providing that information for me.
All right. And then we just have one more question, but it was for our ACT portion of today's webcast.
Okay.
So if I could invite Kristen back on to join us.
Hey, Ben.
Hey, Kristen. I'll go ahead and read that out on the air. This person says, we have received different information from Pearson and KDE on the technical requirements for the acceptable iOS version of iPads. The Pearson was from 2023. Which versions are permissible for the ACT fall assessment? I'll go ahead and turn that over to you.
So according to ACT's technical guide, 16.x and 17.3 are the acceptable iOS versions. And if that doesn't answer the question, you're welcome to email me directly and we can talk about that further. But according to their technical guide, that's what they have available.
Sure. So what that technical guide is saying is it's iOS 16 and then iOS 17 after version 3, or version 3 and after. So essentially not versions 1 and 2 of iOS 17.
Yes.
All right. Well, that is all the questions I've had today. Jennifer, I'm going to turn it back over to you to sign us off.
Thanks, Ben, and thanks to each of you for all that you do for our Kentucky students. And thank you for being part of this broadcast. Our next scheduled DAC Monthly Webcast is October 10th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Until then, please stay safe and stay healthy.